Hello everyone, today we have a very interesting case. Many people have asked me, my tooth became black. What do you mean? I said they became black? Yeah, I have a root canal and now all my tooth in this area, they said they have it black. Actually, sometimes you have to think about it. Do I really need a root canal or why did the tooth is black? I have my mom with a problem like that I just remember at this moment. And she has a tooth on the side really dark because when I was in dental school, which is embarrassing, I put an amalgam. We were using amalgam at the time in the back of her tooth. And the tooth on the front of my mom is very dark. That internal whitening is so difficult to get in because all the colorants of the silver and mercury and everything that used to be an amalgam go through the teeth and became black. But the other type of internal bleaching has another reasons. One could be that your nerve was dead after a trauma. The other one is that you have braces that were so tight that without any situation that the orthodontist wanted to cause, it just sometimes happens. It has to do with your body. It has to do how the tooth is gonna respond to the injury, that the tooth thinks it's an injury, but it's not. So many of the times the tooth will become black because either we stain with wine, etc. But when it's a tooth that it has stain because of trauma, because the tooth is dead, because they did a root canal, and if they leave all the material all the way down here, the tooth becomes black. Don't let the endodontist or myself or any dentist say, oh, that's normal, it happens with a root canal. No, when we do a root canal, we need to know, as we all know, that to have the material in a higher part so we can avoid the staining of the tooth. There are some other patients that, in the case of him, that has some type of resorption in this area, and he sent to me to fix it. So we go to the process of the root canal in this case, then we have to put MTA, then I have to put on top a gel restore. But the most important, before the whitening, we need to put in this area 2 millimeters of gel restore. Why? Because we don't want anything in this spot getting into the canal and mess up your root canal treatment that is already nicely working. So there was studies where if you do an internal bleaching, some people believe and have studies that the tooth start getting resorption, means resorbing itself. We have another episodes of resorption. Every season we're gonna hear about root resorption and how to avoid and how to take care of it. But in this case, the main focus is that this patient, being 25 years old, he was looking at this tooth. He said it was extremely dark. Honestly, I didn't see it that much, but we wanted to please the patient. So after the root canal is finished, we need to isolate. This is very important. All my assistants are very well trained, but in this case, Rosemary Orsino plays this separation and protection, like if it's a rubber dam that we use for whitening. And then after that, we went through the back, make a space. After we put the gel restore, then we place a cotton with 2 solutions. That one is sodium perborate, that is for internal bleaching, and we combine it with superoxide, that is the other amount, that is 35% of hydrogen peroxide. I said in the episode of Spanish that it's the same liquid material that we use to make the hair white. And it's extremely aggressive. And in combination, 2 of these bottles of this material, which is not important for you, that's something for dentistry, they are aggressive and start bubbling to the point that if we don't cover the way I cover here with a composite, it's an expensive material, but I cover with composite because the bubbles will throw out the material. And when the material is out, the patient can burn. Listen to this, very important, can burn his tongue, can burn the tissue surrounding, around here or around here. after the time we spent like 2 months coming, and he was every week, every other week, he wanted to have it really white. So we leave the tooth whiter than it was, than the tooth next door. And that way, when we bleach the tooth, it's gonna go back a little bit darker, and then it's gonna be adapted to the same color that the patient had it before. I asked the patient if I can talk about it, and he said it's okay. But the lesson here to remember is you're gonna need internal bleacher. Be sure to ask your endodontist or your dentist to confirm if they are placing above the gutta percha, above this material. It has to be gel restore or a composite. I want gel restore because it's been very well proved how it creates a mesh with the dentinal tubules. And after that, the gel restore, then we can place a composite restoration when we finish the internal whitening. But during, I use in between appointments a composite very tight, a material that is not gonna open so you will not burn your tongue. If this happened to you, call your dentist immediately. If you wanna know more about internal bleaching, please send us a comment, find me in Google, send a message on Instagram or TikTok. Bye-bye.